Welcome to 5.8's Math Moment. Today students learned all about the distributive property and how it helps them look more closely at expressions and decide if they're equivalent. So the first example says, use the distributive property to write an equivalent expression. And I have the expression 7 times g plus h times g. Now, the first thing to think about with the distributive property is that it has to do with multiplication and distributing a number to other numbers inside of a parentheses. So when I'm looking at something that has not been distributed out yet, and I want to make it a little bit more compact and simpler to work with, I need to look at what are both numbers being multiplied by. Well, I see that the 7's being multiplied by g, and so is the h. So that to me means that the g can come outside of the parentheses because it's going to multiply by whatever's inside the parentheses, and it will distribute itself using multiplication to whatever's inside. And then I can move 7 plus h inside the parentheses, and these two expressions are now equal because this is the same. Anything that's on the outside of the parentheses, I always have kind of an invisible multiplication sign that's saying anything out here times is going to multiply by anything inside here. So this would be the same as g times 7, which is here, and g times h, which is here. All right, so that's exactly how you would use the equivalent, the distributive property. Now, another way that your students might need to work with the distributive property is if they see a problem like this, where they already have the parentheses of what they're working with, and then they need to actually show what it would look like if that 2 were to multiply by everything inside. So kind of going for the opposite direction, from parentheses back to the regular expression. So this would all look like 2 times 5, or 10, plus 2 times a, or 2a. Right? And another way students could write that is 2 times 5 plus 2 times a. So lots of different ways that they might see the distributive property, but remember, just look at what is being multiplied in each example to help them figure out what to distribute. All right, example 2 says, tell whether these expressions are equivalent. So I've got this expression here and 7h. I need to decide if they're the same, and then we also have another example down below. Let's start here with this one. It says 1 plus 4h plus 2 and 7h. Are those equal? Well, first I want to combine like terms on this first one so I can get it to hopefully look more like 7h to really decide if they're the same. I see that 1 is a regular number with nothing attached, and so is 2, so I can put those together. 1 plus 2 is 3, and then I have plus 4h. Now, where students sometimes get confused is they think, oh, I could just add 3 plus 4 and get 7h. But I cannot combine 3 with 4h because they're not like terms. The reason that they are not alike is because 3 does not have an h attached to it. So it actually is a separate term. 4h has to stay alone as well unless there were another number that had h with it. So these two, 3 plus 4h and 7h, are not equivalent or not equal because I cannot combine like terms anymore with that 3 plus 4h. So let's look at another example. I have 8 in parentheses b plus 2 plus another 2 and 8b plus 18. So I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms with this first one because I think I could do a little work here. I'm going to distribute the 8 to the b to make it 8b plus 8 times 2 is 16, and then I have my plus 2 here. I'm going to look again and see if there anything else that I can combine like terms. I see that 16 is a number all by itself, and so is the 2. They don't have anything attached, they're just regular numbers, so I can put them together. So that would be 16 plus 2 is 18, and then I still have the 8b. So I have 8b plus 18, and over here I had 8b plus 18. So once I combined like terms on this expression here, these are equal or equivalent. And that's because I was able to distribute the 8 to each of those terms inside of the parentheses. If you have any other questions about this lesson, make sure to see your math teacher.